Welcome to a glorious morning in Sanur. Today I'm going to give you a massive update on what's going on around town, some of the updates on things that have opened, closed, the weather situation, which is really interesting in itself, and a bit of a random walk around some of the areas that you may not have been before. Let's get stuck in. First of all, I wanted to start off down here at Ponte Masari, where there's this lagoon. Now, my memory's not 100%, but I didn't think that this actually connected like it does now to the open ocean. What I'm seeing now is that this lagoon seems to expand really far during the high tides that we're having at the moment. And as you can see, the sand's all wet here, so it's actually expanded right up to here. And that's as a result of some of the winds we've been having recently. We're in the dry season now, and typically in Bali, it's a little bit cooler in the dry season, typically windier. And what's happening is that when the high tides are coming in, particularly around the full moon time, the tides are getting pushed really far in because of those winds driving straight across, and a lot of the beachfront paths are getting submerged in water at some of those high tides as well. But what that does mean is that because it's a slightly cooler temperature, maybe a couple of degrees or 3 degrees maybe compared to earlier in the year, and you've got these quite strong winds, it's really pleasant to walk around, really pleasant. I mean, under the sun, it's still, you still feel it, but it's so pleasant, especially when you go under those trees, you get a bit of shade. You can walk for hours in this sort of weather and not be too concerned by the heat. It's quite a beautiful time of year, and this should last through until about late August, early September, where it will start to change again, which is the half season. Oh, we've got dogs. Hello. Having a bit of a grumble, as they usually do around Bali. Grumbly dogs. What's he doing? He's having a bit of a nip. What's interesting as well is that we've had quite a lot of rain. Normally in the dry season, if it's like a bog standard dry season throughout Java and Bali, which have similar climates, what you'll find is that in the dry season, you'll almost never get rain. You might get a little bit of rain on one day during a month, or you might get a couple of nights where you have a little bit of a sprinkle or whatever. You might even get unlucky and have a big storm one day. That's a typical sort of dry season. This dry season, we've had a lot of rain. I would say half the days over the past few weeks have had some sort of rain, and some of the rain's been torrential. It's been quite heavy. Now, it's not so bad that it's going to destroy your holiday or prevent you from going out for the day, because again, it's not massive. So we've just crossed the car park area of Ponte Masari, and this is the new Pasar Ikan. Before, this was just scrubland, not that long ago, probably 6 months ago. And they've got this thing called Balanese. Well, I don't know what they're going to do to it, but it sounds like it's going to be some sort of environmentally friendly structure. It looks nice though, doesn't it? This is the Pasar Ikan fish market. I don't know how that's going to work. It looks very clean, and I've never been to a clean fish market before, so if they can really make that into a really beautiful Pasar Ikan, that would be great. That'd be good. Nice little activity down this end of Sanur, which down here there's actually not a lot of, there's not a lot to see and do. There's a few warungs along that end of the car park, which are pretty unpopular. I like it down here. I don't always go down here, but I have made a habit in past times to come down here because I quite enjoy that it's quite quiet. If you want to run, you don't get bothered by the path being blocked up. So even on those busy days down here, it's really, really quiet. So there's a road that comes down here that goes, well, this is sort of follows this canal here. We're at the very southern/western end of Sanur. This is the boundary. You can't really go any further than this, because past here, past this canal, it's mangroves. There's a little beach area over there which is unpopular, which I've done a video on before. But aside from that, yeah, this is the end of it. So there are quite a lot of villas down this area that people choose to live in, sort of in there a little bit. There's little roads with villas. I was actually going to buy one down there at one point, decided against it for various reasons. Now here's the mangrove. You can see the water flowing this way. The tide's coming in, yeah? Tide's coming in a big way. Normally, when the tide's going out, this is quite low and it's a stream or a creek. When the tide comes up, it's very tidal. There have been quite a lot of openings and closings of restaurants over the past maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 months since I've done an update. I was doing those Sanur sessions, which I was doing my updates from in the past, and I was doing those more regularly than I've been able to do recently. So I'm just going to bunch all these together. So one of the ones that has changed, it's been changed for a while now, Warung Kursi Pendek. I did a review of that in the past. That was in this area. That's now moved out onto the bypass. If you love Vietnamese food, that is a really fantastic Vietnamese warung. It's a bit different to something like Mea Vui, a little bit more rustic. I think the flavors are really authentic and bang on. The guys that run that place are just fantastic. Really love their food. So if you want to try that place, that's moved. Another place that I really love is called the Bear Bottle. The Bear Bottle is a coffee shop. Well, it hasn't moved, it's changed. It's in the same location as it's always been on Jalan Cemara, but they've expanded it into the shop next door. One of the problems with the previous setup was that it was quite small. Now, I don't mind it being small, but it meant that a lot of people missed out. So they come there and find that it's full and have to go somewhere else. And I would do the same. If that was a full coffee shop, I would actually go to a different one because of it. Now, they've opened up another section, and it means that you can almost never not get a seat at the moment. And that's some of the best coffee you'll get in all of Sanur. I really love it. And the guys that serve you coffee down there are really pleasant guys, really nice guys. They do pastries, they do smoothie bowls, but it's not one of those places. It's pretty low key, you know. And a lot of the people who go there are quite regular. They know the good places, so that's changed a little bit. There's actually, as we get down here, another temple called Pura Dalam Pangembak, which goes through there. I've actually never been down there. I'm not sure. I think I'm allowed to go through that gate without a sarong on, but I wouldn't be able to go further in. Interestingly, there's another temple down here, which I'll show you not far from here. As we turn up here, we get onto what I guess is just called a canal. Interesting, the word in Indonesian for canal is Canal. So it's canal. And this thing leads right up into the back of Sanur somewhere. I followed it a little bit, but it gets sort of stuck in between houses and stuff as you get across the other side of the bypass. But this actually leads all the way to the bypass. Not a bad little path. It's a little bit uneven in some places, like here it's sort of slipping off into the mangroves. But there's a little flat section as well. This does rise up a little bit when the tide comes up, but not too here. Sort of comes up into that little section down there, which you wouldn't be able to walk on. And then up here, it turns left into the mangroves where there's a little temple. I'll go in there now. While we walk down there, I'll just go over a few more closures. Vin's Coffee has closed down. I reviewed that pretty early on. Warung Nyonyo burnt to the ground on Jalan Cemara. That was that reggae bar. Via Via has closed down. That was a really nice place that has branches in other places around the world. Really nice sort of cafe traveller vibe. Kopi Toko, another really popular coffee shop, right bang in the middle of Jalan Danau Tumblingan. That closed down. Lucky 8 Noodle closed down. They were really good pork noodles. That's gone now, unfortunately. And there are more and more of those sorts of places that aren't quite as successful as they need to be profitable. They're sort of closing down, and that's one of the hard things about business here in Sanur. Trying to get your customer base loyal to you is really hard because it's difficult to know what people want. It's almost a little bit like making these videos. What do people really want? Trying to put out something that people want as if you're a cafe, it's quite hard. path down here is a little bit dodgy, mainly because it's all been dug up by the crabs. There's lots of these crabs in the mangroves, and they sort of have burrowed everywhere and made the path a little bit uneven. But yeah, we're bang in the middle of the mangroves here. Not a very popular tourist spot. Like, it's not even a tourist spot at all. Like, I rarely even see locals come down here. I occasionally do see a guy come down on a motorbike. It's probably like the priest or some dude that's responsible for keeping this thing with prayers. There's new offerings up there, so people are coming down here and making the offerings. I don't know the significance of this place. I really would love to know. If you're Balanese and you know, or even if you're not Balanese and you know what the significance of this place tucked in the middle of the mangrove forest is, I'd love to know, because it's an odd spot. To actually find this place originally, someone would have had to walk through all the mangroves and put a little temple down. They've even got electricity down here, which is just incredible, especially when you consider some of the places I went to in Flores recently don't have electricity, and we're talking, this is in the middle of a mangrove forest and those people are in towns. Sort of ends right there. Over here in the corner you can see a big rubbish pile with all the canang sari and other offerings. There's a bunch of them, a lot. So obviously been some sort of ceremony down here recently where they've all made those offerings. But it's thick jungle in there. I mean, if you get in there, I mean, you're all sorts of snakes and lizards and other animals that probably you don't want to come face to face with. The reason I say this is because I can hear a lot of rustling through the bushes in there. Crocodiles. No, there's no crocodiles, I think. So let's go over some of the openings. Well, one of them's called Rue, which is a really popular cafe. Very difficult to go and open a place and be so popular, but Rue is a cafe doing sort of like brunch food down on the main street there. Very popular. Burger Brothers is a new place up, well, basically on the main street as well, Jalan Danau Tumblingan. Good reputation as well, doing burgers. Burgers are a tough one in Sanur. I know there's quite a few burger joints here and none of them seem to be doing that well. I don't know if it's, I mean, you would think people want burgers, but it seems that they don't. But it would be interesting to see what that Burger Brothers is like. It's in a very central location, so I wouldn't mind trying that out as well. Lava Gastro Bar, Jalan Danau Poso, another highly rated pub slash restaurant. A little bit like Fire Station, I think. It's sort of that theme, but it's got good reviews. Curry Traders is another one in the south of town on Jalan Sudamala. Curry Traders has got outlets elsewhere and it's always highly rated. Like even on Nusa Lembongan, they've got a Curry Traders and people love it. I don't know a lot about it, except what I've seen of it is it looks a little bit like fine dining Indian. I don't know what the prices would be like. I don't think it's going to be cheap, but if it's really good food, it's something I would have to recommend. And lastly, I mean, it's been around for a while. It's called Naked Baked. Now, I always say Naked Baked or Naked Baked because I reckon that's probably sounds better. Well, it doesn't sound better, but it sort of makes a bit more sense when you call yourself Naked Baked. That place is down on, well, you know, Studio di Pantai. There's a little cafe down there at the end of the road, which runs from the roundabout to the beach. It's a little, it's a little stall, extremely popular with locals. They only do coffee in takeaway cups, which is the first negative, because I really hate that. The other part that I don't like, when I went there, it was really busy and they sort of slapped me out of coffee, which wasn't really up to standard. I won't pass judgment yet on that particular place. Finally, there's all of those warungs and new eateries in the very north of town at Pantai Bangsal. Now, what happened was there were a bunch of warungs there. They all got knocked down. It's been refurbished, the path's being redone, all the way up to the harbour. Now, you could always get to the harbour, but it was just a little bit, well, some people loved it, some people hated it. The people that loved it, loved that really rustic style warung, like real proper warung where not so many foreigners go. The people that didn't like it felt it was a little bit dirty, a little bit crappy. The canal here is interesting. I love the canal. Like, it's a bit dirty because as I said, it sort of feeds in from way back inland somewhere. So you've got a lot of rubbish that sort of gets dumped in there. But what they've got, the government has a little rubbish collection system. Up here, you've got a footbridge, a road bridge, and then just another little bridge, which is not used by either pedestrians or cars, and it's used for picking up rubbish. So they've got a big grate below that bridge that dips into the water and sort of filters out all the rubbish that might flow down the river. And there's plenty of it. I'll show you it. Look at this. It's an interesting little contraption they've got. They've actually got more than one. So stuff that gets through here gets caught in another area. So look, see that there? It all gets filtered there, and then they have a machine which drags it up, and then a guy takes it away in a truck. The truck is over there. You've got workers there that operate it. If that wasn't there, there would be a lot of rubbish down on the beach in Sanur. So sometimes we say, oh, the government's not doing anything. Like, I'm one of those people. I'm a bit of a whinger as well at times. But that is something. They are doing things. There is stuff being done, but the scale of the problem is just so massive that it's sort of like difficult to resolve. Interestingly, down on this path, all the way along, there are little rubbish bins. Well, not all the way along, but there are from time to time little rubbish bins, which is nice. So people that come down here to sort of have a cigarette and a coffee don't just dump it into the water. They'll dump it into one of these little bags here. Yeah. That's pretty cool, isn't it? They do have staff that come up and down here and sweep and tidy up the place, which is nice. So I like it down here. It's quite peaceful. Like, if you lived here, I think it'd be pretty nice. Like, it's just out of the centre of town. I mean, I've just walked here from Ponte Masari, so not that far. Beautiful flowers. You can see little villas like that have been built. That one's been recently built, like really recently. That wasn't there when I first moved to Sanur. That place is still under construction. That's been going for almost 18 months now. Yeah, easily could be 18 months. And behind that little jungle area there, that's a vacant block, but behind there are villas and nice houses all in there. That whole section in there actually is quite an upmarket area in Sanur. It's a really peaceful residential area, quite a lot of bigger blocks as well. I really like it in there. If you want to buy a place in there, you better get your wallet ready because it's expensive, really expensive. Because the tide is coming in, you can see that path now starting to get slowly covered. The water coming in there, just flowing nicely onto that path. The tide was coming in really quickly when I looked at that creek back there, and this will be full probably in a couple of hours. A couple of hours, it'll be high tide. There's a bit of a wind blowing, so it should be quite a high tide. The government actually released a warning saying that over the next few days, the tide's going to be very high, and just be careful. Not just here, but all around, the eastern side of Bali where the wind's blowing onto. We're coming to the end of the canal now, where it turns back into the creek. You can see just over there another bridge, and under that bridge there is more grates and netting, which they try to use to capture some of the rubbish that might escape the previous one. To be honest, there's not a lot that flows down this section. There's little bits and pieces that have skipped through the grate back there, but it's not terrible. There's a little side, well, I wouldn't call it canal, but just a side creek that goes up into the mangrove somewhere. They've also netted that off to ensure that is free from rubbish as well. This guy's going to go fishing in here. I've never seen this before. Yeah, traditional style. You gotta have a bit of skill to do this. In this particular creek, there are heaps of tiny fish, heaps of tiny little fish. And because it's netted off, I'm not sure how big the fish you can get in there are. I almost never see people fishing in there. So I'm guessing that there's not that many big fish in there. I didn't mention this the first time I passed because, sometimes when you see something a lot, you just take it for granted. But this here is a beautiful statue of a cow eating a canang sari down the bottom there. A guy with a kris and a big bird and that beautiful statue. Now this is called Kanaka Anom Gopala. That's some Balanese thing that I really don't understand, so I can't provide any extra context for that. If you know what it is, please leave a comment so we can educate everyone else about what that is. But it's beautiful, quite beautiful. That's something that you'll go past for sure if you're coming along the canal. It's sort of a reminder, like, yeah, we do take things for granted sometimes if we see it too much. I've got to constantly remind myself that the things that I'm seeing are actually really interesting and beautiful. Like Susan will say, oh, you should do a video on this, or you should do a video on that. And I go, you know what, I should. Even though for me it's become normal, that's not normal for everyone. I'm gonna make a better effort to sort of spread the word about some of the littler things that I see around the place, which sometimes we skip past if we've seen them a lot, but for the majority of people it's still going to be interesting. I'm heading back to Ponte Masari now. The total journey will be 3 kilometres. I've already gone 2.8, so I'm only 200 metres away now. It's a beautiful walk, honestly, besides all these motorbikes tearing past. But actually, I mean, the motorbikes are no big deal. That was just a couple of foreigners who go a little bit faster. But it is a beautiful walk. It's not far, it's flat. The path is uneven in some places, but no worse than probably what you're used to. And you take it easy. There's a bit of shade along the way. You pick your time of day. I mean, if you do it in the heat of the day, it might be a little bit unpleasant, but I do it in the mornings, and it's just beautiful. Just a beautiful part of Sanur, especially if you're hanging out in the southern part of town. And if you're not, you can catch a cab down to Ponte Masari very easily from anywhere in Sanur, very cheaply. Should cost you a couple of bucks. And then from there you can go on this walk. And if you've had enough, just get on your Grab or Gojek app, or even Bluebird app, and call a taxi and go home. Thanks for coming along today on this walk around this part of Sanur. And thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all things Sanur. And the rest of Indonesia. I'll catch you next time.